I did, so I'm not.
So the agreement was that you get Cannon the third weekend every month. Do you do that?
No, and we didn't really agree to that because the last.
It's signed on paper.
This is what I do. It's not gonna ever be. But
I
one
get
thing
that
you
now.
ain't gonna never, ever have to question or worry about is that boy getting the love and the same treatment the kids when he's around. Always been concerned. And I've always loved him
I've
since
never
the first
seen
day I
that
heard
heard from you. You don't have to hear from me because Cannon knows what's up. Understand why it's a little weird now, but you know it's not weird. So it's now all of a sudden.
I've always been there since I decided to forgive you. If I forgave, I gotta take everything that comes with it, and that's it. Y'all do some stuff so we can get
The
this
season 13 premiere of Love and Hip Hop was a turning point for the show, as it featured a highly anticipated clash between Rasheeda and Jasmine. The tension between them had been building for a long time, and it finally erupted in a dramatic confrontation. For Rasheeda, the episode was a game changer, making her realize that she couldn't handle everything on her own anymore. The ongoing drama surrounding her relationship with her husband Kirk Frost had been a major storyline on the show, and Jasmine's involvement only added fuel to the fire. What started as a personal issue between Rasheeda and Kirk had grown into something much bigger, pulling in fans from all over Atlanta who had been eagerly waiting for this moment. Jasmine had always been a source of trouble in Rasheeda's marriage. Despite causing chaos in the past, she refused to back down. From the beginning of season 13, Jasmine was once again trying to insert herself into the situation, despite the fact that her previous actions had already caused significant damage to her relationship with Rasheeda and Kirk. Her persistence was no longer just annoying, it was becoming destructive. It was clear that her actions were making Rasheeda's already strained marriage even more difficult to manage, and fans couldn't help but wonder what would happen next. Rasheeda had been through a lot over the years. Despite the challenges, she had always handled everything with grace. She focused on her marriage, her businesses, and her children, all while trying to keep a positive attitude. But eventually, the constant drama took its toll. Rasheeda realized that if she didn't confront the issues head-on, everything she had worked so hard for could fall apart. This was the moment when she knew it was time to take charge. She couldn't allow Jasmine to ruin everything she had built for herself and her family. Although Rasheeda was known for being strong and independent, even she had her limits. She had reached her breaking point, and it was clear she wasn't going to let things continue the way they had. After 2 weeks of the new season, Rasheeda made the difficult decision to confront Jasmine directly. The tension between them was palpable as they faced each other. This wasn't just an argument, it was an emotional conflict that had been brewing for years. Rasheeda had tried to remain composed, but Jasmine's actions had pushed her too far. Rasheeda didn't hesitate to speak her mind. She called out Jasmine for her role in the turmoil surrounding her marriage with Kirk, making it clear that she wouldn't stand by and let Jasmine continue to cause trouble. "No," Rasheeda said firmly. "We never agreed on this, and it can't keep happening. I should never have to doubt the love and treatment that my children deserve. They all deserve the same care and attention, and I won't let anyone disrupt that." Rasheeda was no longer holding back. She was done tolerating Jasmine's rude behavior and constant attempts to meddle in her relationship with Kirk. She was determined to put an end to the chaos Jasmine had caused in her life. Jasmine, on the other hand, wasn't about to give up easily. She defended herself, trying to justify her actions, but it was clear that the confrontation wouldn't end quietly. There was too much tension between them, and it was evident that things were only going to escalate. As the argument continued, Rasheeda's resolve grew stronger. This wasn't just about defending her marriage to Kirk, it was about protecting everything she had worked so hard to build. Rasheeda had spent years building her family, her career, and her sense of self. She wasn't going to let Jasmine destroy it all. For the first time in a long while, Rasheeda was fully stepping into her power. She was no longer the woman who would quietly endure the drama. She was ready to fight for herself and her family. This wasn't just about defending her marriage anymore, it was about her own dignity. Rasheeda had spent years being pushed around, but now she was showing everyone, including Jasmine, that she wouldn't stand for it any longer. She was fighting for herself, and she wasn't backing down. By the end of the argument, it was clear that Rasheeda had won. She had taken control of the narrative and shown Jasmine that, despite everything she had tried to do, she couldn't destroy Rasheeda's family. Although the drama between the two women might not have ended there, this moment marked a significant turning point. Rasheeda's fierce determination and strength were on full display as she stood up for herself. It was clear that she wasn't going to let anyone, not even Jasmine, disturb her peace. Her bold stance demonstrated that Rasheeda was unbreakable and fully capable of protecting everything she held dear. When the episode ended, viewers were left wondering what would happen next. Would Rasheeda and Kirk's marriage survive the constant turmoil? Would Jasmine continue to try and tear their family apart? More importantly, Rasheeda had proven to everyone how strong and resilient she was. By standing up for herself, she not only defended her marriage but also regained her power and demonstrated to Jasmine that no one, no matter how persistent or cruel, could take anything from her. The season premiere was more than just another episode of Love and Hip Hop. It was a powerful moment that showed Rasheeda's growth as a woman and a mother. She had faced countless challenges over the years, but this time she was done being the victim. Rasheeda was finally ready to take control, and nothing, not even Jasmine's schemes, was going to stand in her way. Rasheeda made it crystal clear from the start she was the one in control. She didn't hesitate to show that if anyone was going to mess with her, they'd better be ready to face the consequences. It was evident that Rasheeda wasn't going to let anything stand in the way of her taking charge of her life. She made it known that she would never stop fighting for her son's right to receive the love and care he deserved, just like any other child. Rasheeda had always been supportive of her family, but when it came time to forgive Kirk, she realized that accepting him back meant accepting everything that came with it. Forgiving Kirk wasn't an easy choice for Rasheeda. It meant dealing with his past mistakes, including his affair with Jasmine. Instead of taking responsibility for his actions, Kirk tried to play the victim. He used his affair as an excuse to avoid facing the issues he was dealing with at home with Rasheeda. He went around telling anyone who would listen that he wasn't happy in the marriage, trying to justify his bad behavior rather than owning up to the pain he had caused. Kirk had been unhappy in the marriage for a long time. A few days later, he decided to leave Rasheeda. According to some people close to the situation, he even reached out to his legal team to get advice on how to proceed with a divorce. But Rasheeda wasn't going to let him walk away so easily. In an interview with Essence, she made it clear to Kirk that she wasn't going to just let him leave. She was determined to keep fighting for her family. Rasheeda declared that she would remain strong, no matter how tough things got. Rasheeda also pointed out that many people who talk about her marriage don't really understand what she's going through. They haven't been in relationships long enough to see the struggle she faces. She emphasized that other people's opinions didn't affect her decisions. She wasn't trying to explain everything, but one thing was certain: her marriage survived because Kirk had made real changes. It wasn't easy for her, especially during the darkest moments, but it took a wake-up call for Kirk to finally realize the damage he had done and how much he needed to change. Kirk wanted Rasheeda back in his life, but that wasn't something Jasmine could accept. She was clearly upset by his decision to try and make things work with Rasheeda. It seemed like Jasmine had been hurt by Kirk's choice, especially since she thought they had a future together. But, as they say, you lose people the way you gain them. Kirk was a man who knew how to play both women off one another, trying to keep both involved in his life. Insiders revealed that Kirk had even talked about marrying Jasmine once his divorce from Rasheeda was finalized. It was clear that Kirk was trying to move on, but it was a messy situation. While people hoped Kirk would quickly recover from the drama, it was obvious that things weren't going to calm down anytime soon. The tension between Kirk, Rasheeda, and Jasmine was far from over, and fans only seemed to make it worse by adding their own opinions. Many viewers were confused by Jasmine's constant involvement in the drama. After all, Kirk had been warned by doctors that he might not survive, and that there were consequences to his actions, like having a child with someone else while still being married. Rasheeda's strength and resilience were evident, but this situation only highlighted how complicated things can get when a married man has to take responsibility for his actions, especially when he was allowed to make those choices. Jasmine knew what she had done, and now she had to deal with the consequences. It was time for her to let go of the situation and focus on loving herself more than she had ever loved Kirk. This situation raises an important question: should Rasheeda forgive Kirk for everything he's done and continue to stand by his side, or does she have every right to walk away for good? Kirk seemed to turn to Jasmine when he was drunk and to Rasheeda when he was sober. It was clear that he had made his choice when he decided to be with Jasmine.